What is up, everybody? What is up? What is up? Welcome to episode number 67 of the Grapple Bros podcast about two brothers who are former WWE employees that enjoy wrestling and video games. Once again, I am your host, Murpho, going it solo at least one more time for you all. D-Murph, while he is back to a regular work schedule, unfortunately, there was some damage to his house that's causing him to have to stay home so that way he can watch over some contractors fixing up one of the bathrooms in his house. So he could not join me on the podcast this week. Hopefully he'll be back in the next episode, which will actually be 2 weeks from now, because next week I will unfortunately have plans in addition to working on Sunday for the NFL season for my job. I also have an engagement party to go to on Saturday with a family friend, so I won't be able to get the podcast shot on Twitch next week. So unfortunately, we're going to be taking a week off, and then we'll come back in 2 weeks, which is fine because even though Crown Jewel is supposed to be taking part that week, I'm actually, when we talk about that in the news, I'll explain why. Doesn't matter so much that we're missing next week. But anyway, we've got a lot to talk about this week. A whole lot to talk about. There's a ton of stuff going on. Evolution is this weekend. It is tonight if you're watching this on YouTube when it goes out, because of the 24-hour because of the 24-hour like statute of limitations or whatever, like exclusivity that you have to do as a Twitch affiliate. Hopefully so we've got Evolution that we got to talk about. We've got the Roman Reigns stuff. We've got the Dean Ambrose stuff. We've got Elias stuff. We've got stuff regarding Cody Rhodes that's going on in the news. Stuff around Crown Jewel. A whole lot of stuff to discuss today. Hello to P1 Gaming in the chat, by the way. But let's get into it. We're going to start by talking about Monday Night Raw. And Monday Night Raw started out with a very solemn, somber announcement. Roman Reigns came down to the ring on Raw with the Universal Championship in tow over his shoulder. And he got the traditional reaction when he came out. Half the crowd booed him, half the crowd cheered him. And then Roman started talking and announcing that, and started apologizing and mentioned that, this is him being Joe Anoa'i, not Roman Reigns, and that he's sorry, but he has to relinquish the Universal Championship because he's actually been living with leukemia for about 11 years. And he got it when he was 22. It ended his football career. He was luckily able to fight it off because they caught it early. But it was one of the hardest times in his life. But he had to announce that the leukemia has returned and it's come back. So unfortunately, Roman Reigns has to go away, spend time with his family, focus on making sure that he kicks leukemia's ass once again, so that way he can be back. And he thanked the crowd and said, that they made his dreams come true, and that this is not a retirement speech, that he is going to kick leukemia's ass and come back and get the Universal Championship back, which I hope he does. It was a very real, obviously, and heartfelt promo, and it was hard to hold back the tears when watching it. No matter what you think about Roman Reigns, or no matter what you think about any WWE superstar, and their character, they are all human beings behind the character. And this was Joe Anoa'i, the person, the human being very real and honest with people. And it's this very serious, life-threatening disease, and I hope he can kick its ass. I want him to come back. After he cut the promo, he went up to the ramp, and he was embraced by a tearful Dean Ambrose and especially tearful Seth Rollins. They did the Shield pan. So they did the Shield Tri-Fist pose. And yeah, Roman's gone. No longer the Universal Champion. He's going to be gone for he's going to be gone for a while. I don't know when he's going to come back. I hope he comes back, kicks ass. The pop he's going to get when he comes back is huge. And yeah, it's not sure what the timetable is going to be for him to come back. Just recently, actually, this week in the NHL, Brian Boyle, who plays for the New Jersey Devils, used to play for the Tampa Bay Lightning and the New York Rangers. He actually was diagnosed with leukemia, with a type of leukemia last September, and he just revealed this week that that it's gone into full molecular remission, which means he is clear. I mean, there's always the risk with leukemia and cancer that it can come back, but that was just over a year. But of course, it varies from person to person and what type of leukemia they have. So maybe if Roman has something similar to what Brian Boyle had, that he'll be able to be back within a year. Could be 2 or 3 years from what I've been hearing from people, but I hope so. I hope he comes back. I hope it's quick. And yeah, get well, Roman. Get well, Joe. Take all the time you need. WWE will be waiting for you, and you're gonna get the biggest pop of all time when you do come back. Everybody's hearts and minds and thoughts and prayers are with you. Let me check in with the chat. Papa Smark, thank you for the host. Good afternoon. Big Stupid says, can I ask an honest question? Are those fans who booed Reigns even during his speech hypocrites for then cheering him after? Trent says, no, they're booing his character, not him as the person. I kind of agree with Trent there, because when they started booing him, they were still thinking that he was out there as Roman Reigns, the character. The moment he mentioned that he was actually talking as Joe Anoa'i, and the moment he meant, like, literally, if you watch that promo back, the moment he mentions that he has leukemia, the second you hear the word leukemia leave his lips, go into that microphone and echo around the arena, the entire crowd went dead silent. You could hear a pin drop, and that is when everybody who hated the character of Roman realized that this was real. And I don't think it makes them hypocrites, because there's a difference between booing the character, be that the fact they don't like the character, they don't like the way the character is being booked or presented, or the way that the character is being pushed. That's completely different from relating to and cheering a human being who is revealed that he is battling a life-threatening disease, that he's beaten before has returned. And that he has to go away to battle that. I don't think they're hypocrites. I think once everybody realizes how real it is, they realize, these people are human beings. Joe Anoa'i is a human being, is a person, and they cheered him because he deserves it. Like, this allowed them to identify with Roman on a level that no level of booking, or Joe Anoa'i on a level that no one's been able to Roman Reigns as a character. And a lot of people now, the whole character thing, that's in the back of their mind. They don't care about the character anymore. Now they care about the person, the human being. So that's how I feel. Papa Smart says, tough for all parties. Joe and his family lost the company. Plans heading towards Mania and such. Yeah, but it's October. They have plenty of time to course correct any WrestleMania plans. WWE will be fine. Joe will be fine. On the Joe front, any news regarding Joe and his injury? Samoa Joe, that's in my rapid hit news that I'm going to hit towards the end of the wrestling discussion, so we'll get to that later. So moving on to the rest of Raw, I really don't want to be analyzing every single thing that happens, because then the show will go on forever like it has the last couple of weeks. But I'll touch on some of the bigger things that happened. Bobby Lashley did wrestle Finn Balor, and he actually lost. But this is because of the fact that it's believed that, I think it all has to do with the fact that Bobby Lashley is I don't know if it's furthering the Lashley-Finley rivalry. I think it might be, but there was also revealed that Bobby Lashley is apparently battling a separated shoulder and competing and wrestling through it, which people say, like, you can perform through it, but you really can't exercise or work out. So Bobby Lashley might lose his physique if he doesn't do it. So who knows how long this storyline might last. Maybe this will go until they have a chance to have a pay-per-view match, until Survivor Series, and then maybe Bobby will go away for a month to heal up his separated shoulder. But yeah, just wanted to drop that news piece in when I saw that they faced each other this week. And am I going to make Evolution or Crown Jewel picks? I will make Evolution picks. Evolution predictions will be coming up after I do the my run through of all the happenings this week. I'll talk about Crown Jewel when I get to Crown Jewel news. What were some of the other highlights? I didn't catch this, but apparently there was a really good promo between Paul Heyman and Braun Strowman. Drew McIntyre also leveled Strowman, so it looks like what they're gonna be doing is that they're gonna have Strowman be able to defeat Lesnar at Crown Jewel, and then it'll be McIntyre and Strowman for the Universal Championship, which I think will be an amazing rivalry. It'll be awesome. And then we finally had Elias finally turned face by busting a guitar over the back of Baron Corbin after he came out during Elias's performance, and they basically had a back and forth. Which, I mean, I think Elias was working as a heel anyway, but I think him as a face is amazing. It's going to be great. I can't wait to see where they go from here. And when I was reading through, and I actually have it up right now, this is how I like refresh my memory of what happens every week and go back and remember what I watched. I go through the Bleacher Report stuff, and Bleacher Report, the writer who did the Raw recap mentions that, and I didn't think of this when I first heard this, is that, with what happens at the end of the night and Roman, having to go away, there was a void for another face towards the middle or the top of the card, and so Elias immediately fills that because of how over he is. So it was a smart booking decision, and it was awesome. The crowd erupted when he did that. And then the only other thing really from Raw that I feel must be discussed is the other huge thing from Raw that ties into the Roman Reigns thing, and that is that Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins faced Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre for the Raw Tag Team titles. They won them, and then after embracing one another, Ambrose turned on Rollins. It finally happened. Ambrose dropped the championship in his hand, delivered the Dirty Deeds DDT, and turned, and then just continued to assault Rollins. There was a large amount of backlash. A lot of people were very critical of this. And at first, when I first saw this, my first thought was, it is not the right night. Not tonight of all nights, with how somber and serious it is, to try and use it for a wrestling angle. Almost felt too soon. That was my initial gut reaction. A lot of people still felt that way that night as well, and I think still feel that way. However, when you think about it, you gotta know that WWE, I'm sure that when they had this idea, somebody had to have gone to Roman, to Joe, and gotten his okay on this. And knowing Joe, if he's like anybody else in the business, they might have been like, yeah, the show has to go on, and it makes for a good angle, so go ahead and do it. Not to put words in Joe Anawai's mouth, but I'm just assuming they had to go and get the okay from him on this. And honestly, this was the perfect time. A lot of people said it was the wrong time, but my thought, once I thought about it, just looking back and analyzing my gut reaction, the reaction of a lot of people, the fact that that they got the okay from Roman to do this, and the fact that they had been telegraphing this Dean Ambrose heel turn the whole time, and I've been saying for weeks in the podcast, they're telegraphing it. When are they going to do the turn where you don't expect it? Because I've been expecting it for weeks. They found a moment where nobody was actually going to see it coming, despite telegraphing it for a month, and got it. They found that one time where it wasn't expected and did it. So it was perfect. That was actually the perfect and potentially one of the greatest heel turns of all time, because Dean's going to get nuclear goddamn heat. It's ridiculous. So I am very much excited. And I think one of the biggest things and best things out of that entire segment, where Dean is beating up on Seth and delivering another DDT to Seth on the outside, is that Seth the entire time is just saying, like, it's okay. It's okay. I understand. It's okay. And that was just, oh, that hit you right in the heart. Like, Rollins was almost like, I understand. I know what's going on. I know why you're so frustrated. I know why you're taking this out on me. It's okay. Like, holy hell. Like, just the acting from both guys in that moment, plus the timing and it not being unexpected, plus what had happened earlier. It was a perfect storm. And again, I think it's one of the best heel turns of all time. And I cannot wait to see where this goes. Obviously, Ambrose and Rollins will likely have this rivalry go on about the Intercontinental Championship, but it'll also be interesting to see what they do with the Raw Tag Team titles going forward. So very interesting, ridiculous, insane, and way to end Raw, and something in a moment that we will not forget, not soon forget. It'll be remembered for a long time going forward. And I also think this is, in addition to his comeback, this might be the shot in the arm that Dean Ambrose's character needs and has maybe needed since Rollins turned heel and turned on the Shield the first time. So that was everything that happened on Raw. Raw was a pretty good show. Started with some very real stuff, ended amazingly, had some good moments in the middle. SmackDown was okay. Big Show and Kofi fought, ended in a brawl. I like what they've been doing with AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan. They faced the Usos again and lost again due to a miscommunication. Styles went for his Pele kick. One of the Usos who was in the ring ducked, hit Daniel Bryan in the head, which caused them to win. And then afterwards, they had a promo segment where they were just taking digs at each other. So it was good. It was very cool. I like what they're doing there. The Becky Lynch and Charlotte promo, it was definitely something different. I kind of dug it. It was a little weird seeing like Shayna Baszler and Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair and them all in there as if it was like a real thing, and then the kayfabe coming in with Becky Lynch. But it was something different. It was something new, and the brawl they had in the Performance Center was really cool too. This is by far, even though it's not the like flash show going on, the last match happening at Evolution, I think it is the true main event of the show, more so than Ronda Rousey versus Nikki Bella. Even though Ronda Rousey and Nikki Bella has more mainstream appeal, I feel like this is the best storyline going into Evolution, and one of the best storylines going on in WWE at the moment. Rusev and Aiden English had a little bit of a thing where Rusev beat up Aiden and pinned him. I don't know if this story is going to keep going or not. It was looking so promising at the beginning, and it seems like it's petering out. And that was mostly all that there really was. Orton beat Jeff Hardy in and Mysterio beat Miz in some World Cup like preliminary like teasers and stuff like that. So SmackDown was okay. Then on 205 Live, which I didn't watch, Lindsay Dorado and Mike Kanellis had an okay match. Apparently, I have not watched this, but Hideo Itami and Mustafa Ali in their Falls Count Anywhere match was incredible. Bleacher Report gave it an A+ rating, so I would definitely, I'm probably going to try and give it a look when I get a chance. Probably recommend that you guys do so as well. And then the Mae Young Classic had its semifinals air this week, and if you have not seen it, go watch it. I made sure, because I didn't get to follow the Mae Young Classic last year. I haven't been following the Mae Young Classic much this year, but I wanted to make sure once it got down to the semifinals and there wasn't a lot of matches that I had to like worry about watching, that I watched the semis, and I am so happy that I did, because Toni Storm and Meiko Satomura had arguably potentially one of the best matches, if not the best match of the year. I mean, granted, I'm also looking back on matches that involve in 2018 that involved Cien Almas versus Gargano and Gargano Ciampa 2 and 3. I think it was 2 and 3 or 1 and 2. It was technically 2 and 3 because they faced off in the Cruiserweight Classic, but just goddamn was that match so good. The false finishes, the crowd was so into the end. I thought I feel like Toni Storm now that now that Tegan Nox is hurt, I feel like Toni Storm is the one who's going to win the tournament. And that's how I felt the second I saw Tegan Nox got hurt. But good God, if they didn't make me think Meiko Satomura was actually going to beat Toni Storm. And after the match, they had Kairi Sane out to provide flowers. Toni Storm was just so emotionally happy. It was amazing. Meiko Satomura got an amazing send-off. The crowd was chanting, "Thank you, Meiko." Triple H came out, bowed to her respectfully. Toni Storm and Meiko Satomura embraced afterwards. Like, it was a special match. It is by far one of the best matches I've seen this year. And I highly encourage anyone who is watching or listening to this podcast, go and check it out themselves as well. The other match, Rhea Ripley versus Io Shirai, was also pretty good. Could not match the level of, obviously, of Storm and Satomura, but what could after that? They tore the house down, those two. But Ripley and Shirai worked a really good match. I'm a really big fan of Rhea Ripley, which is kind of cool because she's actually, even though it hasn't aired on NXT UK yet, she is the NXT UK Women's Champion. She originally wasn't supposed to be in this spot. It was believed it was supposed to be Tegan Nox. So the fact that Shirai and Ripley, didn't have a ton of time to think about, maybe as much time to think ahead of time of what they could do. Maybe Shirai and Nox might have had time to. They still worked a really great match. I actually kind of wanted Rhea Ripley to win, and I wanted to see an all-Aussie main event between Ripley and Storm, a face versus a heel. But Shirai ended up winning, who apparently the announcers were saying is I don't know if they're just saying this just to get the two of them over, was saying that she was Kairi Sane's best friend. They embraced after the fact. So we've got our match. We got our finals. We've got at Evolution, it's Io Shirai versus Toni Storm. And I think Toni Storm is going to win, but regardless, I think it's going to be an awesome match. Swig of water. It's talking a lot. Makes you thirsty. Then speaking of NXT UK, that happened this week, and it was an okay show. I don't know if it held up compared to the inaugural show, but the action was good. Ligero beat Mike the Wild Boar Hitchman, who has probably one of my favorite gimmicks in all of professional wrestling. I just love his entrance attire. Dakota Kai came out and faced and defeated Killer Kelly in an alright match. The match was good. The Code Red backstabber was a little sloppy at the end. But I like Dakota Kai. I like Killer Kelly. It was a good match. They brought up the NXT UK Championship that's still yet to be crowned on television on the network on NXT UK. We got we got Ashton Smith defeating Tucker in a pretty good match. And then we had Tyler Bate defeating Wolfgang in the main event, which was really, really cool and a really good match. However, to me, the highlight of the show was actually Zach Gibson's promo. Liverpool's number one. She made his first appearance on NXT UK, and the heat he had in that promo and in that arena was nuclear. It was so loud you could barely hear him talking on the mic, and he, in kayfabe, though maybe possibly like seriously, requested that the volume for his mic be turned up so people could actually hear him. That's how much people were ragging on him and chanting at him and just booing the ever-living hell out of him from the crowd. We got chants of if you hate Gibson, stand up, clap, clap. And then it evolved into if you hate Gibson, shoes up, and like the crowd was holding their shoes in the air. It was freaking amazing. And Gibson's promo also was so impassioned, so full of just fire and just confidence and anger at the same time. And the way he also ended up running down Noam Dar. He mentioned the fact that he beat Banks, Flash Morgan Webster, Jack Gallagher in one night to become the tournament winner, and then had to beat Dunn, who was apparently well rested, and he knows that a well rested Gibson can beat a well rested Pete Dunne. Such a good goddamn match. I mean promo. I recommend that you watch it just because of how loud the crowd is. Noam Dar came out to answer his defend his own name that Zach Gibson was besmirching. But before Dar could hit the ring, Johnny Saint came out, called them back to their office, and we're going to get Noam Dar versus Zach Gibson, Liverpool's number one, as the main event for next week's NXT UK, which I am sure is going to be one hell of a match. Hell of a match. So that is everything that happened this week in pro wrestling. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to look ahead to this Sunday, tonight, if you're watching this on YouTube, on when this video goes live. And we're going to go ahead and I'm going to give my predictions for Evolution. And I just also want to point out that if you want to join in on the predictions, be sure to check out my Discord server, which you can find on the channel page on Twitch, in the show notes in the audio version, and the video description on YouTube. If you do join the Discord server, you can find, in addition to a general feedback and discussion channel for the podcast, you can find a viewer predictions channel as well. Get involved in the viewer predictions. I'll make a post in there showing the card and showing my predictions after the show's over. After this podcast is done filming, I mean. And you can put in your predictions as well. Thank you, by the way, to Big Stupid for going ahead and putting in the Nightbot command to bring up the Discord in the chat. Put in your predictions. Whoever has the most correct predictions out of all the viewers will get a shout out on the next episode of the podcast. And whoever gets more predictions than yours truly will also get a shout out on the next episode of the podcast. So go ahead, join the Discord server, get involved, make your predictions, and best of luck to you all. Going over the show, the first match is the Battle Royal, which is kind of meh. I kind of wish they had I wish they had like another match or two in addition maybe to the Battle Royal to get some of the people who are in this match some more time to shine. People are wondering if some NXT people, like maybe Candice LeRae, Nikki Cross, Shayna Baszler, or not Shayna Baszler, obviously, because she's in the title match. But like Candice LeRae, Nikki Cross, and the like Bianca Belair might show up in the Battle Royal. Right now, currently, the people involved are Tamina Snuka, Billie Kay, Peyton Royce, Ember Moon, Nia Jax, Dana Brooke, Asuka, Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville, Carmella, Lana, Naomi, Tori Wilson, Michelle McCool, Medusa, Molly Holly, Ivory, Kelly Kelly, and Maria Kanellis. The winner of this Battle Royal is guaranteed a shot at a championship down the line. Some people think that we might get the debut of Nikki Cross being in here and that she might win. But if I had to pick, a lot of people are thinking it's going to be Asuka or Ember Moon. I think it's going to be Ember Moon. Because after Ronda faces and defeats Nikki, I don't know if Nikki and Brie are going to be around after this. I think they might just be around for Evolution. I don't know if they're going to stick around. So I feel like, Charlotte and Becky, you can keep that going into Survivor Series. And you need a new challenger for Ronda. And I think Ember Moon's a good challenger. She needs something to kind of cling on to get a leg up. So I've been debating on who to pick. At one point I was leaning towards Peyton Royce because I think that could work. Also Nia Jax, also Asuka. But I think, put a gun to my head. I have to make a choice right now. I think my pick is going to be Ember Moon to win that Battle Royal. Then we got Io Shirai versus Toni Storm for the Mae Young Classic final. If you guys know, I was just talking about the Mae Young Classic. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Toni Storm. That's my pick, but I think this might very well steal the show and be match of the night. If not, the next match probably will. That'll be Kairi Sane versus Shayna Baszler. This is, I believe, the fourth time these two women will be facing off against each other. Shayna Baszler has won twice. Kairi Sane has won twice. And I think this is going to be the moment where Shayna Baszler wins. Some people think that Kairi Sane might actually successfully defend the championship, and that Shayna Baszler might get called up, maybe attack Ronda Rousey at the end of the show, who's supposed to be her friend, to be immediately be a contender for the Raw Women's Championship, which it could be. But I think they may hold out for a little bit, just because of one thing. There is yet to be a 2-time NXT Women's Champion, and this is the perfect opportunity to give that distinction to Shayna Baszler, who I think is arguably the future of the women's division. And I think that I don't think WWE is going to pass up a chance to let Shayna Baszler recapture that championship. So I'm going to say Shayna Baszler, but I also feel like it's just as possible that Kairi Sane wins. That frees Shayna up to go up to the main roster. Shayna Baszler gets called up and ends up showing up at the end of the show. As Johnson Jamie 65 asks, can you see the emergence of the 4 horsewomen after this? If you're talking about the 4 horsewomen of MMA, which I believe you are, of Rousey, Shayna Baszler, and I can't remember the name of the other 2 horsewomen, mainly because they haven't debuted yet. Part of me wants to see that, but I feel like it's too soon. Again, I think they want to give Shayna Baszler the chance at being the first ever 2-time NXT Women's Champion, and the other 2 horsewomen, they have not even debuted in NXT yet. So I think I could potentially see maybe Ronda continues to do her thing on the main roster. Maybe Shayna wins the title here. And maybe it's because we'll see the other 2 horsewomen show up. Maybe they'll cost Kairi Sane, and maybe Shayna Baszler will end up running a stable with those 2 women. And eventually when they get called up, maybe they'll join Ronda Rousey. It's possible, but I don't think it's likely to happen. I think it's more likely that Baszler and Ronda either team up, or Baszler shows up to turn on Ronda and become her next challenger. I feel like that's much more likely than the 4 horsewomen actually coming together. Then after that, we've got Sasha Banks, Natty, and Bayley versus the Riot Squad. And I think the Riot Squad's I'm going to go with the Riot Squad to win this one. This is a toss-up. The build-up to this match has been kind of meh. And I feel like the Riot Squad could pull off the win here and get a solid win. But it depends. You could also say that Sasha and Bayley could win because if they want to make the women's tag championship a thing, you want to make Sasha and Bayley going strong. I'm going to pick the Riot Squad, but honestly, you could go either way with this one. Then we got Trish Stratus and Lita versus Mickie James and Alicia Fox. It was originally going to be versus Mickie James and Alexa Bliss, but Alexa Bliss had what people believe to be a broken nose. It ended up being also a concussion, and so she is not cleared to compete tomorrow night, so she has to be replaced with Alicia Fox. The initial belief was that Mickie James and Alexa were going to win, so that way Alexa can get a push by getting the rub by defeating Trish and Lita. I still think I'm going to go with Mickie James and Alicia Fox, with the win coming via Alexa Bliss. I think Alexa might cause some sort of distraction that will allow Mickie James to get the pin. Part of me is regretting making this pick, but I feel like you want to make Alexa Bliss look strong, and if she's ringside still, you can still do that with Alexa Bliss causing the distraction for the win. So I'm going to go with Mickie James and Alicia Fox. And I'm picking I've picked 3 heels in a row. I'm picking a lot of heels to win this, to win their matches. And again, Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair. This is another match where a lot of these matches are just toss-ups. You just don't know who's going to win. You don't really know who's going to go where. I want Becky Lynch to win this one. And I think you need to. I think she's the more over person. Unless you want Charlotte to win and for them to trade titles and Becky to try and win it back. Oh man. I think I'm going to eat it hard on these predictions too. Actually, you know what? I think... You know what? I'm going to change it. I'm going to say... No, I'm going to stick to my guns. I'm going to say Becky Lynch is going to retain here. Could very well go either way. I feel like I'm going to eat it on these predictions. I feel like I'm going to get a lot of stuff wrong. Because part of me, because I'm saying this, but also at the same time, I can see... I think, like, now that I'm thinking about it, I think Sasha, Bayley, and Natalya are probably going to beat the Riot Squad. But I'm going with the underdog prediction. I think Trish Stratus and Lita are going to beat Mickie James and Alicia Fox. And part of me thinks that Charlotte Flair is going to beat Becky Lynch. But I'm just trying to be a contrarian here. If for no reason, just because I'm trying not to go with my initial gut instinct here. But however, I will go with my initial gut instinct for the Raw Women's Championship. Ronda Rousey's going to retain against Nikki Bella. That one's telegraphed. That one's going to be obvious. So just to recap, I may get one, maybe two of these predictions right. So if you want your name shouted out, get into the Discord server and make your predictions. Because it's probably not going to go well for me. I've got Ember Moon, Toni Storm. Those are probably the only two I think I'm confident about, and the main event. But I've got Ember Moon, Toni Storm, Shayna Baszler, the Riot Squad, Mickie James and Alicia Fox, Becky Lynch, and Ronda Rousey as the winners for Evolution. So I will make sure to put down the match card and my predictions into the Discord server. Make sure you get your predictions in. Prediction deadline is the Ring of the Bell of the first match of at the start of Evolution. And also, just in case anybody is curious, unfortunately, I will not be live streaming a reaction to Evolution because it's Sunday and I work Sundays all day covering football. But I will be watching Evolution on Monday morning, or at some point on Monday. All right. So with the Evolution predictions finished, let's move on to the other show that is going to be happening very soon, the controversial show that is happening next Sunday, or I think Saturday. And that is WWE Crown Jewel. Now, after all this pressure, all of this unsuredness of will they, won't they, the WWE continue to have Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia. WWE finally came out with a statement during their earnings call for their third quarter this week, saying WWE has operated in the Middle East for nearly 20 years and has developed a sizable and dedicated fan base. Considering the heinous crime committed at the Saudi consulate in Istanbul, the company faced a very difficult decision as it relates to its event scheduled for November 2nd in Riyadh, similar to other U.S.-based companies who plan to continue operations. Similar to, I read that, I butchered that. I'll start over again. Considering the heinous crime committed at the Saudi consulate in Istanbul, the company faced a very difficult decision as it relates to its event scheduled for November 2nd in Riyadh. Similar to other U.S.-based companies who plan to continue operations in Saudi Arabia, the company has decided to uphold its contractual obligations to the General Sports Authority and stage the event. For a full year 2018, guidance is predicated on the staging of the Riyadh event as scheduled. So, WWE will not relocate. They've thought about it, but they've decided to uphold their contractual obligations and not risk any legal issues and have the show happen in Saudi Arabia. Now, with that announcement also came the announcement that John Cena is now officially out of Crown Jewel, will not be competing apparently. And apparently there's still rumors, although I'm not sure, that Daniel Bryan may still not want to work Crown Jewel. So we will see what happens this week. We'll see if Daniel Bryan decides if he's going to or not. John Cena has more leeway because, he's goddamn John Cena and he has a ton of stuff going on outside the ring that he doesn't have to worry about. And he has so much money that he doesn't have to worry about, keeping his job with WWE. So they're making preparations for the show without John Cena, maybe finding a replacement for him in the World Cup. But apparently there are rumors that he might be, that they might be trying to talk to him to come back. but Barstool Sports reached out regarding Cena and Bryan's situation, and WWE responded with an official statement saying, "As always, we maintain an open line of communication with our performers, and we will address each situation accordingly." That is all they have said. Robbie Fox of Barstool Sports, who was reporting on the story, noted that Cena was still 100% not doing the show despite WWE's efforts to change his mind. And with that said, you guys were wondering, would I stream the show? Would I do predictions? Would I review it? I'm actually, I've been thinking about it really hard over the last week, and I apologize for this, but one of the tabs I opened up decided to play an ad. But anyway, yeah, you guys were asking me, people are curious if I'm going to do predictions or review of the show. And I've been thinking really hard this week about it because I'm not sure, because I feel like having this podcast, I have an obligation to watch the show. However, I went to college as a journalism student, and while I ended up going into game journalism, just the fact that I was a former journalist, and I very much do believe in freedom of the press, and while I fully understand where WWE is coming from and why they made their decision, for me personally, as a journalism major in college, and as someone who firmly believes in freedom of the press and the protection of journalists, I am not going to be doing predictions or a review of Crown Jewel. Super Grab Bros podcast will not be doing it, which makes missing next week's episode easier. I am actually not even going to watch the show. I will not be watching Crown Jewel. I will read the results, and I will report on the results in the podcast, in the next episode of the podcast, but I will not be doing a standard review. I will not be doing predictions, and I will not be watching the show. And that is me making my personal decision just based on my beliefs, how I feel, and my previous history as a journalism major in college, and my, just what I believe. I understand why WWE made the decision that they did. And I get it, but it doesn't match my feelings on this situation, and I don't want to watch this and give support to a regime that, or in effect, in a way, giving support to a regime and a culture that is going to assassinate journalists who are critical of them in a consulate in a foreign nation. So, once again, just to reiterate before I move on, there will not be any predictions. There will not be any review. I will not be watching it, but I will read the results, and we will talk about it. We will talk about the results and what it could mean for potential future storyline implications on the shows on the next episode of the podcast. And then before I move on from Crown Jewel entirely, I just wanted to have this other story that I want to mention. Ronda Rousey commented on the decision by WWE to remain in Saudi Arabia, and they asked her. I'm going to read this. This is taken from a Bleacher Report article. Apparently, TMZ Sports caught up with Ronda and asked her a question. Let's see. About why she believes in the power of sport. They asked, TMZ Sports asked Ronda Rousey about why she believes in the power of sports to find what we have in common and be able to understand each other more. And here's Ronda's quote. "I'm a two-time Olympian, so I'm an idealist when it comes to sports. Nowhere else in the world would some man from Iraq and a little girl from Venice Beach be respecting each other and sharing space. And I think that sport is where we really find that common ground with each other. And I think that pulling out of the crown jewel would be the wrong move, because I think that this is an opportunity to be able to share our cultures and to define what we have in common, and in times, especially when, times of adversity between two countries that the That's the absolute wrong time to be able to pull away. While I understand what Ronda is saying, I don't know if I agree with her saying that pulling out a crown jewel is the wrong move. I don't know if staying is the wrong move either, to be honest with you, even though I just said I won't be watching it. Just because of a business and legal idea standpoint. But I feel like the wrong move would be to. I feel like if I was gonna say what the real wrong move is, like I understand what Ronda's saying, I think the real wrong move would be to cancel the contract, the 10-year contract in its entirety. I feel it is important to try and have that Western influence on Saudi culture and maybe try to change the Saudi culture so that the regime is not killing journalists in foreign consulates. But I feel like just the timing of the event being so close to this situation, I feel like the proper move and the right move would have been to move Crown Jewel, pull it out, move it to a different venue, and then return to Saudi Arabia in 2019. Don't do any other shows in 2018 to show that, we don't tolerate this. But then in 2019, maybe in the second half of 2019, or maybe even in 2020, I mean, maybe if you have to have a show in 2019 as part of the contract, wait until like the end of 2020 and say, hey, we've still fulfilled our contractual obligations. We had one show in 2018. We now have a show in 2019. And now let's start to try to heal from this awful situation that happened a year ago and move on. I feel like that technically would have been the right move. So that's I just wanted to put out what Ronda said and my thoughts on what she said, how I feel. And there's also one other thing. Apparently Hulk Hogan has said that he's going to be in Saudi Arabia for the show. Don't know if he's going to be on the show. Yikes. I don't know how that will go if he does get on the show, but it'll be interesting. We'll find out on the next episode when we read the results. So now I want to take a bit of a sidestep away from WWE stuff and over to some non-WWE stuff. Really quick, I just want to talk about Cody Rhodes because a lot has happened around Cody this week, which leaves people wondering what's he going to do next. So for those who don't know, Cody Rhodes, who we were saying it was great that he won the NWA World Championship from Nick Aldis at All In. We want to see him hold it, take it all over the world, defend it, bring prestige back to it. Well, that ain't going to happen because he lost it to Nick Aldis in a rematch at the NWA 70 event. So much for that. Then we also found out via Cody's social media that he will not be at the Ring of Honor and New Japan G1 Supercard in Madison Square Garden WrestleMania weekend. And we found out that he is no longer with the Bullet Club. Apparently, there's a new version of the Bullet Club that got debuted in New Japan, and Cody is no longer a part of it. I'm now transitioning from one story to the other. We'll see if I think my browser might have crashed trying to process the request, because that's what happens when you use nope, here we go. Yeah, it was during his Q&A on Twitter, and a fan asked if he was going to be doing, if he was what was it? If you could have any wrestler from any promotion join the Bullet Club right now, who would it be? And he responded and said, the Bullet Club is all Jay's thing now. Jay White, Switchblade, by the way. Loved being a part of it. Met some good folks. And I'm trying to read the rest of the story right now. Another fan, this is from, where is this from? This is from WrestleZone, by the way. Another fan was saying it's a work. Responded with a gif of Admiral Akbar saying it's a work, and Cody responded, is it? It's weird folks are struggling with this. The last major New Japan show featured a segment showcasing the new Bullet Club, and I wasn't in it, so I might have to watch that because I have a subscription to New Japan World. This ain't a mystery. I am 100% not in the Bullet Club. 100%. The Bullet Club is awesome and will continue to thrive. I haven't seen the latest major New Japan show, so maybe it's been that the Elite has been kicked out and separated from the Bullet Club. But yeah, it's interesting. Cody is apparently focusing on a new way to evolve his career in the wrestling business. Some people may speculate this means that maybe he's going to re-sign with WWE, but I think what this is, I think All In gave Cody a fix at being a promoter. And I think Cody wants to transition into being a promoter and starting his own and helping run and book his own promotion. He's got that itch, much like his father Dusty had. And I think what he's going to try to do is potentially with the Bucks and the Elite is try to build and create their own promotion, or try to make All In into a multi-year event or something that becomes its own promotion, its own thing. And this also could be coming off the heels of the fact that apparently I believe New Japan has a new owner, and it seems like they might be trying to go in a new direction. I don't know if that's part of this or anything, but just wanted to put that out there. So interesting stuff going on with Cody. We'll see what happens to him in the coming months. But yeah, just no longer in the Bullet Club, no longer NWA World Champion. So interested to see what happens with him next. And then just doubling, now we're back on some WWE news, quick hits before we transition over to video games. Little known fact, when Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose won the Raw Tag Team titles on Monday, it actually caused Seth to break a record. He is the first and only superstar right now who has won every single Grand Slam title, not once, but twice. So he is technically a twice-over Grand Slam champion with WWE. He's the first superstar to ever do it. So congrats to Dean there. Then we got some quick hits via Bleacher Report. Matt Hardy was talking in an interview with Oliver G. Alvar of Cultura Colectiva about what was expected of him when he would return to WWE TV potentially. And he said, "It's not 100% decided what I'll end up doing once I return to WWE TV. That hasn't been finalized yet. But I'm pretty sure we'll take a tangent from the woken/broken Matt Hardy persona. That persona will definitely live on at the network, and it might come back out on TV. I feel like when I return to WWE TV, it's going to be... Have you ever seen The Incredible Hulk when Bruce Banner got angry and turned into this green monster? Well, I feel you're going to have Matt Hardy, and then there'll be something that causes Matt Hardy to transform into a woken or broken Matt Hardy. So almost like maybe Matt Hardy will have this sort of like anger trigger or something. But it's interesting that he was talking... as like this kind of trigger thing. So it's got people thinking that maybe he actually isn't retiring, but it could also just be like maybe he'll be a personality, maybe he'll be a persona, maybe he'll run a stable where he is woken Matt Hardy and he's got his own disciples. There's also rumors that the Wyatt family might reunite soon with Harper hurt and Wyatt and with Rowan hurt and Wyatt and Harper both off TV. It's believed that the Wyatt family might come back. Who knows? Maybe they'll tie both of these together and Matt Hardy will be a manager type person as the figurehead of the world. Maybe it'll be the Woken Wyatts, which actually kind of sounds pretty good. The Woken Wyatts. And Matt Hardy will basically maybe run the Wyatt family alongside with Bray or something, and maybe they'll all be woken. I don't know. Or maybe it'll be two completely different things. And then speaking on the Samoa Joe thing, Samoa Joe is out of action apparently with an injury. So doubling back on what Papa Smart mentioned. So this is the latest news on Joe's injury. He is reportedly dealing with, it's undisclosed, basically. No new updates really. According to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, it's noted that he isn't cleared to compete, and his last match was against Jeff Hardy on October 9th. So it's just that it's an undisclosed injury. There's no updates on that. And then the last little bit of news, Ty Dillinger apparently posted a photo of him with Shinsuke Nakamura from a match last month, saying Turn Back Tuesday or Throwback Thursday. It's that time I used to wrestle. Some people think that it might be that he might be bringing up some maybe disgruntledness towards how things are going with him in WWE, which, I mean, I almost don't blame him if it is. But I just hope this doesn't negatively affect Ty or his future with the company. Because I want to see him succeed. I really like Ty Dillinger. I know some people who like to follow me and watch me just think he's just nothing but an entrance, but I like him. So, and with that, I'm going to end. That brings a close to the wrestling section of the podcast. Going to transition over into video games, which is unfortunately nowadays never as long as the wrestling. But if you stick around for the video game section, thank you. I appreciate you because I do love gaming as well. That's why I gameplay stream on Twitch. So does D Murph. He doesn't gameplay stream on Twitch, but he does enjoy the video games. Red Dead Redemption 2. This is the big story that came out on Friday to rave reviews everywhere. IGN, 10 out of 10. Polygon recommends the game heavily. They don't score anything. GameSpot, 9 out of 10. Easy Allies, 10 out of 10. US Gamer, 4.5 out of 10. The Guardian, 5.5 out of 5. Game Informer, 10 out of 10. It goes on and on and on. Last I checked, it was a 97 overall rating on Metacritic. And likewise on other aggregate sites. Zariah, hi. How is the former Supercard superstar doing? He's doing good. Not playing WWE Supercard anymore, but still playing other games. Still playing WWE 2K. Still playing Red Dead. Talking about video and hosting a podcast like I'm doing right now. Talking about wrestling and video games together. Thanks for coming into the chat. I appreciate you sending the message, my friend. Roto World is treating me well. Thank you for asking, by the way. It is treating me very well. I am enjoying my job there. Back to Red Dead, though. For those of you who follow me on Twitch and who will see on, as of Sunday morning on YouTube, I got to start out Red Dead Redemption 2. I streamed it for 4 hours last night, Friday night, if you're watching this on YouTube. And I am really enjoying it. It is a beautiful, gorgeous world teeming with wildlife. I am enjoying the story so far. I love the fashion. I love the style. I love the Old West. Red Dead Redemption 1 is one of my favorite games of all time, and I am so glad the sequel's out. I am probably going to be playing a lot of it. I'm gonna keep my regular Monday streams that are going on while the NFL season's going on. I'm gonna keep that to WWE 2K19, but when I normally have time to stream anything else on Twitch, it's probably gonna be Red Dead Redemption 2 because I am digging it that much. I want to beat the story. I want to do everything that's there. I want to mess around in the open world. And when Red Dead Online comes out, I'm gonna want to play Red Dead Online. So if you enjoy that Red Dead content and you're enjoying it all, just follow me on Twitch, or keep your eyes peeled for it on YouTube. But yeah, Red Dead Redemption 2, from what I've played, I 2 thumbs up, fully enjoying it. I only just opened up the open world, and so I'm sure I'm going to enjoy it even more. And the critics agree that it is amazing. Fortnite, by the way, transitioning over, Fortnite has their Halloween event going on now called Fortnitemares. The event has a couple of changes. For example, the zombie-like creatures now spawn. The cube has basically dropped these areas where it's like mini chunks of the cube in the world, and they will spawn these zombie-like creatures. I think they're called like cube creatures or something like that. I'm trying to I'm reading my story on the Fortnitemares thing, and trying to mention what it does. Cube monsters. That's what it is. You kill the cube monsters, you destroy the cubes that spawn them or whatever. And there are some challenges that are attached to the event. And the challenges are destroy cube monsters, deal damage with assault rifles or pistols to cube monsters, visit a corrupted area in different matches, which is basically what those little mini cubes are with the cube monsters. Dance at different gargoyles, and if you get all those challenges done, you'll get a dark engine glider, which is basically like this really cool sort of like almost haunted steam engine, like train, like car, like the front car of a steam engine, but all spooky and haunted and stuff like that. They also have a new skin called Deadfire. It's an entirely new type of an adaptive cosmetic. This is quoting Polygon. The skin features in-game progression, meaning that the more damage you do to enemies or the later you last in the game, the skin will change and gain new effects. This is entirely different from anything else we've seen in Fortnite, and it's likely to be a feature on several high-profile skins in the future. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, that's all about the event. I'm trying to see if it went live on October 24th, along with the latest patch. And Polygon says it will likely stay up for at least a few weeks, so you'll have time to get your Halloween stuff if you haven't jumped in yet for Fortnite. And then apparently, speaking of Fortnite, Epic Games apparently just raised another $1 billion. This story from IGN. Epic Games announced Friday that they received an investment of approximately $1.25 billion from KKR, Iconic Capital, Smash Ventures, Axiomatic, Vulcan Capital, Kleiner Perkins, and Lightspeed Venture Partners, according to the AP. The funds are meant to create further partnerships in technology, entertainment, esports, and other live events. The investors have now joined Disney, Tencent, and Endeavor as minority shareholders in Epic. Epic Games continues to be controlled by founder and CEO Tim Sweeney. We're excited to partner with these finest minds in the financial, sports, and entertainment communities, Sweeney said in a statement. This reinforces Epic's position of leadership in real-time 3D technology and accelerates our ability to improve the way people play, work, and interact with the world. Ted Oberweger of KKR added the model for interactive entertainment and has fundamentally changed under Epic Games' leadership. Along with a special group of investors, we are thrilled to support Epic's dedicated employees and passionate community of players and developers that lies at the heart of everything that Epic Games does, Oberweger said. So, Epic Games just got a whole lot richer, $1 billion richer. Thanks in part to the success of Fortnite. So if anybody thinks that Fortnite might be going away anytime soon, or that Epic Games won't be able to keep up the momentum or make a sequel to Fortnite, yeah, Fortnite's going to be around for quite a while. Epic Games just got $1 billion, $1,250 million, just because of the success they've had in Fortnite with new investing partners. So, holy hell, I'm excited. I'm kind of excited to see what's going to happen in Fortnite in the future and what Epic Games is going to bring both to that and maybe any other future projects they create now. Epic Games has with Fortnite, and especially with this new investment, Epic Games has just become a juggernaut of the industry. Apologies. We also got details this week. If my browser wants to work and let me scroll through here. The browser's not being a fan right now. I might have to come back to those stories later. Let's see if I can refresh them. Let's try to refresh them. All right, while those are refreshing, we'll get to another story. Battlefield 5. Over to Battlefield 5. You know how they had a Battle Royale mode that was going to come out with their game? It's not launching now until spring of 2019. Taking the story from Polygon, Electronic Arts and developer EA DICE have laid out the post-launch timeline for Battlefield 5, and it includes at least one major surprise. The game's Battle Royale mode, Firestorm, won't launch until 2019. The mode's release window starts in March, according to the timeline image in a new blog post, with no further specifics given on the timing. During spring, DICE and Criterion start the fire with Battlefield 5's Battle Royale experience. DICE's Jonas Elfing wrote. Elfing describes Firestorm as an experience that elevates the Battle Royale genre by bringing in the best of what Battlefield is known for. In a trailer in early September, EA said the mode would offer 64-person action across 16 4-player squads, along with vehicles and destructible findings. So, I'm not entirely sure if this was the plan the whole time. I mean, if it is and they needed more time to polish it, good. But part of me, there's a little part of me that's like, maybe they were thinking of launching it when the game came out. And then Call of Duty dropped Blackout. And Blackout has been such an overwhelming critical and public success in the game industry right now, in the gaming community, and so lauded that maybe they were thinking, well, let's kind of give ours more time to get some polish and kind of stay away from Blackouts. That way, maybe in 6 months, 8 months, when people are starting to get a little tired of Blackout, we can swoop in and maybe steal some of their player base. So I thought that was an interesting little bit of news there. All right, these don't want to load up. I might have to get back to them later. Oh, I just realized I completely forgot to talk about something. in wrestling. So we're going to double back in wrestling later. Which I'm surprised nobody called me out on, by the way, when we were talking. When I was talking WWE stuff. Another quick hit little thing. Sea of Thieves is getting another expansion, Shredded Spoils, in November. Forsaken Shores just came out. And apparently Forsaken Shores and the expansions of Sea of Thieves is actually getting some very positive reception. And apparently Sea of Thieves actually continues to improve and get better. So maybe Sea of Thieves is worth revisiting eventually. All right. Let's see. I'm just closed out. I'm close these out. I'm going to see if these want to reload for me. Yes, they will. Okay. So here's another story. All this talk of Red Dead Redemption. There's still another big game to come out this year. At least one more, in addition to Battlefield 5. And of course, I got to make sure I mute these tabs when I open up these news stories. Bethesda detailed the PvP for Fallout 76. And I'm going to read the story from IGN by Adam Bankhurst. Bethesda has detailed Fallout 76 player versus player PvP combat and how it works in the wasteland of West Virginia. In a blog post, Bethesda outlined the rules of engagement that come into play when you run into another human player in Fallout 76 and revealed that PvP may begin as early as level 5. However, when you attack another player, the damage dealt will be greatly reduced until they agree to start a PvP duel with you by returning fire. So if you initiate a duel, you're not going to be able to just run up to people and just one-hit kill them. The game is going to deliberately prevent that, so that way you can't just be murking people. And it'll allow people to get away and not be just griefed, which is amazing to hear. Also noted is that an invitation/agreement to a duel must occur by a direct hit. Explosions from such items as a grenade do not count. Will not mark you as an attacker and will do no damage to other players until the duel has been officially accepted. That's great to hear. When the duel begins, you'll be able to deal full damage to your opponent and you will be hidden from each other on the map. But players will be shown as a red dot on the compass to give a general idea of where a foe may be lurking. At the bottom of the screen will be displayed the name of your combatant as well as the cap reward if you manage to emerge victorious. The reward will generally be equal to the player's current level, and it's paid from their personal stockpile of caps. Ooh. If you find yourself on the losing end of the battle, you'll be given two options, Seek Revenge or Respawn. Seek Revenge will continue the PvP encounter and will respawn you in the general vicinity of your killer. If you're able to enact revenge on your opponent, you'll receive some bonus caps for your efforts. Choosing to the respawn option simply ends any hostilities and allows you to choose a new respawn location. I believe is that everything? Yeah, no. Story continues. As with any death in Fallout 76, you will drop all your junk to the ground in a tiny paper bag. If you are killed, items can be taken by anyone who finds your paper bag before you can claim it. If you don't want to engage in other hostile players' games, you can use the block or block for session options to end communication with them and make it very difficult for them to find or follow you. Lastly, there is a new radio station, Hunter/Hunted Radio, that will be added to your Pip-Boy that will allow you and at least 3 other players to play a little game of cat and mouse and participate in a battle royale-esque mode. Each player is assigned another player as their target. So while you are out hunting a player, you will always have to keep an eye out for another assassin whose mission is to take you down. These matches last an hour, and the hunt area's size will decrease over time. If you are successful in killing your target, you'll be assigned another target until one hunter remains. No matter if you win or lose, killing at least one hunter will earn you some caps and XP, and the rewards increase based on the number of kills up to a maximum of 6. Fallout 76 will be released on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC on November 14th. So the PvP sounds really cool. It's an interesting little twist on the Battle Royale genre, whereas instead of just a free-for-all where you kill everybody, you're specifically given one person that you have to find and kill. And so you have to basically find and kill that person and avoid the person trying to kill you. So that's cool. And the last little bit of news I want to mention is that Jade Raymond has left EA's Motive Studios. For those who don't know, Jade Raymond is was a founding member of Ubisoft Toronto. She was a producer on the original Assassin's Creed and the executive producer of Assassin's Creed 2, as well as Splinter Cell, Blacklist, and Watch Dogs. So she's a very prominent figure in the game industry. And the way it sounded, I'm going to read EA's statement on this. It kind of almost sounds like EA may have actually like nudged her out and might have forced her out, but I could be wrong. But they mentioned that she's left the company. But here's the full statement from EA. EA Studios is focused on bringing more creative new games and content to players. Laura Miele and her team have taken several steps internally to better support our game makers in this pursuit, such as expanding Samantha Ryan's portfolio to lead additional studios, including Motive. Motive is a studio that Jade Raymond is currently the head of, and Samantha Ryan also runs EA's mobile studio, Maxis, and BioWare. Getting back to the statement. Samantha is known for driving creative design and supporting game teams so they can bring their visions to life. She is deeply experienced. She's a deeply experienced game maker with a gameography that spans from The Sims to Batman Arkham City and No One Lives Forever to the highly anticipated Anthem. With this change, Jade Raymond has decided to leave Electronic Arts. In her time with us, Jade helped to build great teams, and our projects underway at Motive and other studios continue unchanged. We're appreciative of all her efforts, and we wish Jade all the best as she moves on to her next adventure. We are driving greater creativity into everything we do across EA Studios, and we'll look forward to sharing more in the months to come. So just the way that they phrase that makes me think almost that Jade Raymond was forced out, because they mentioned the way they say it is that Samantha was appointed to run Motive, and since Jade Raymond was previously the founder and I guess running the studio, that either forced Jade to move or Jade didn't appreciate the move and decided to leave as a result. So it's just interesting that just the way that they phrased it. I'm not sure what Jade Raymond has next. She hasn't said anything or made any statements that I'm aware of. But hopefully she lands on her feet and whatever she does next is great. Before I get out of here though, I want to, because that's all the video game stuff I had, I wanted to bring up that I forgot to talk about NXT really quick in the wrestling section. We had EC3 defeat Adam Cole after a great promo by Undisputed Era. And it was awesome. EC3 finally got the much needed win he needed with a surprise roll up despite the numbers game, and then immediately got beat up. I think it helps set up War Games. The way that it seems like they're doing it is I think it's going to end up being EC3, Ricochet, and the War Raiders versus Undisputed Era. So Undisputed Era will be in another War Games match, except this one will be 2 teams in a 4 versus 4. So I think that does a great job of laying the groundwork for that. Good way to start off the show. Mia Yim debuted against Aaliyah, and it was actually a pretty good match. I thought Aaliyah held her own pretty well. I like her character. And I think I thought it was a good match. I thought it was good. Then we had Cassius Ohno. He obliterated this poor guy, Justin Xavier. And that, like, he wanted, and he just kept mentioning as he was brutalizing this poor guy that he demanded competition, and this wasn't the competition that he was looking for from that Regal demanded. It is just, he was brutal. He busted up the guy's mouth. Just insane. This is what Cassius Ohno's character has needed, and it's just insane. Then we finally got the reveal of the mystery attacker to Aleister Black, and guys, I just want to say a round of applause to myself, because I was right. It was Johnny Gargano. Johnny Gargano was the mysterious attacker of Aleister Black. And basically how the segment went was William Regal came out to announce who was going to, I think it was to announce who was going to face Aleister Black at War Games for the NXT Championship. Or who is going to face Ciampa, I think, for the NXT Championship. So Ciampa came out. Velveteen Dream cut him off, saying that he wanted a shot at the championship. Lars Sullivan came out and did the same. And Nikki Cross came out saying he's coming. And by the way, Nikki Cross's character with this whole thing has been amazing. Just amazing. I love it. And then Aleister Black came in, beat the crap out of security on the outside. Basically caused Velveteen and Ciampa to be like, nope, we don't want none of this. Sullivan was foolish enough to get close enough and got hit with a black mass. And Sullivan was shouting at William Regal where he was, and then boom, super kick from Johnny Gargano and said, "I'm right here." Show ended. Friggin' love it. And Bleacher Report, this Bleacher Report recap actually does a great, mentions a great thing. He quotes Harvey Dent from The Dark Knight: "You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain," and that's exactly what's happened with Johnny Gargano. Johnny Gargano essentially got pushed so far by his desire and to defeat Tommaso Ciampa and his rage for Ciampa and what Ciampa's done to him, that he basically did whatever it took to get his revenge on Tommaso Ciampa and get one-on-one. And he saw Aleister Black getting in the way of that. And so he saw it fit to eliminate Black from the equation and take him out, so that way he could have his chance with Aleister Black. And basically now Johnny Gargano has essentially become everything that Tommaso Ciampa has been saying about him. So Ciampa wins. Again, Gargano turns heel in an amazing way. And now he might actually get a double flip. It's kind of amazing. I freaking love it. This is long-term storytelling at its finest. And I cannot wait to see where it goes from here. Big Stupid, by the way, you say, while the reveal was cool, you knew the whole time because he was the first person through the door when Regal went out there. That's true. But still, I think it was awesome. I thought it was great. And now, once again, we come to the end of the show. I got to find a kayfabe news article of the week once again because I take forever to figure it out. Anyway, that's going to do it for the most part as I find this what image I'm going to use, article I'm going to use. That's going to do it for episode 67 of the Super Grab Bros podcast. Thank you all so much for watching or listening. You can get the podcast, watch it live on twitch.tv/L_Murpho. We are live with every single episode, traditionally on Saturdays. You can watch it back in VOD form also on Twitch. You can also watch us in VOD on YouTube at youtube.com/LMurphoReal. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, comment, all of that good stuff over on YouTube. The audio version can be found on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, SoundCloud, and plenty of other places where podcasts can be found. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe. Those Apple Podcast reviews really help out the show. It allows other people to find us. We become officially rated and reviewed podcast. Once you do so, helps grow the audience. So be sure you do that. Do not forget as well, again, hit up that Discord server. Get your predictions in for Evolution if you can. You can also send in comments, questions, trivia, feedback, all that kind of stuff in another channel on that Discord server. It is in the description of the video description on YouTube. It is on the channel page on Twitch, and it is in the show notes in the audio version. You can also send us an email at supergradbros@gmail.com if you have any feedback, questions, trivia, comments, concerns, all of that stuff as well. You can also find me on Twitter at L_Murpho and DMurph at DMurph_42. We always like to tweet whenever we go live with the show on Twitch. So that's a good way to get a gauge for when we're going to go live. You can also find that out on the Discord server. And now I think I might just point a finger at one of these articles. I think there's only, a lot of these are kind of risque from what I'm reading. So I'm just going to have to pick one. So I'm going to pick this one, and I'm just going to mention, I do not condone sexism. I have to pick a kayfabe news article of the week, and this is a tongue-in-cheek joke, and, God, actually, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to go with an article from next week. Yeah, I'm going to go with an article from last week, because all these kayfabe news articles of the that are out for this week, while some of them are entertaining, not all of them are in good taste. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick one from last week as the kayfabe news article of the week for this week. And that is that. Let's see. Punk changes his name to CM Jazz. Is that there? Why don't I see it on there? Because if that's there, I would totally use that. But I'll go with this one, actually. I'll go with this one because we were just closing out with NXT and we were talking about EC3. Here we go. EC3 unveils his new manager on NXT, Aunt Dixie. So there we go. Dixie Carter. So thank you guys so much for watching. Check Friday, maybe. But yeah, if that is a storyline, if that is like an actual headline, then that's what I'm actually going to go with. But the one that Big Stupid mentioned. But that's going to do it, guys. Sorry I couldn't come up with a more entertaining kayfabe news headline, but just looking at everything right now, last minute, nothing is very very appropriate for this podcast. So thank you guys so much for watching, listening. Take care. Pieces, deucey deuce. Reminder, next episode is coming in 2 weeks. Taking a break next week. Thank you all once again, and I will see you later. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye now. Laters.
Shut up and sit down.